We're here with Sied van Riel, and this is Trance Nation in Canada. Thank you very much for meeting with us.
Well, thanks for doing it with me.
No problem. So you just finished Guvernment Nightclub for Contact, our annual trance event with yourself, Sean T.S., Ashley Wallbridge, W&W, and Simon Patterson.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about it after the event?
It was an incredible night. I mean, the lineup was really cool, but since it was my first time in the government, and I wasn't too familiar with the Toronto crowd. I didn't know what to expect, but it was a crazy night, seriously crazy.
And you were what was the last event you were at before the Toronto event at Government?
I did the street parade in Zurich last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Approximately how many people were at that street parade?
A million plus.
A million people.
Yeah.
So now you're coming from a big festival like Street Parade in Germany, with 1 million people, to a club like Government, which had about maybe 2,500 to 2,600 people.
Yeah.
What do you think compared to the atmosphere from that Zurich Parade to the Government?
Well, I always say that you can't really compare the two, because a festival or a street parade brings a completely different atmosphere. It's open air, the sun's shining, everybody's feeling good. The club, you play a different set in a club setting. The people, because it's an annual thing, look forward to a night like this, and a night with trance music and whatever. And you can't really compare, but I'm a big fan of the smaller, intimate things. Like yesterday wasn't really small. I mean, 2,500 people is still a lot of people. If you play the tracks right, and if you do your best in the booth, then the atmosphere goes through the roof. And I think yesterday that was definitely the case. Also with the other guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, with the club scene in Europe, now you've been on that club scene in Europe as well as other parts of the world a lot more, right? And I know that the European scene has been around a lot longer, so maybe the crowd is more demanding. When you compare all those events you've done in clubs in Europe, say to, for instance, Toronto, do you see a difference in the crowd, the atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, every country, and for that matter, I think every region or city has its own atmosphere. And the thing that I love about Canada, yesterday in Toronto, is the reaction you get from the crowd when you have like a really cool break, and then a big drop comes, where people scream, hands in the air, and they show some form of appreciation for what you do in the booth.
Absolutely.
And that feeds me, and I feed the crowd with music, and it's a circle. The circle is complete that way. So if they go nuts, I go nuts. And if the crowd is more like into themselves, they'll still be enjoying, but on a different level. I'll be the same as well. I mean,
yeah. So now there was a lot of artists last night. So because there was a lot of artists, not everybody could play for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I think, around an hour and 15 minutes per person.
Yeah, exactly.
You've probably done a lot longer sets. Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that there is maybe anything that could have been better? Would you have preferred to have played longer if the time?
I always prefer to play longer sets, because then I can really build and go up and down and play more music that I want to play. Because yesterday, you have an hour and 15 minutes, you do your thing, and then you don't want to stop, but you have to stop because the next headliner is there. Yeah. So I prefer to stay stay in the booth for like 2-3 hour sets, but unfortunately that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have changed anything. I mean, it's a perfect lineup yesterday for me. I mean, we're all friends, so yeah, it was an awesome night.
That's good.
Yeah.
So now you're traveling all over the world, doing all kinds of gigs everywhere. You're also managing time in the studio for your own productions and remixes and that stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, at the same time, now you have to manage your private life, your family life, your personal life.
Yeah.
How are you able to manage all this? You're traveling all over the world.
I think it just happens. You grow into it. You develop like a certain system over time, and I don't have a private life basically. Everything, when I'm at home, I'm producing, and the time off that I have is when I go to bed and watch television. That's basically it. I don't go to birthdays of friends. I don't, maybe once or twice a year. I don't even celebrate my own birthday for that matter with friends. Yeah, it's because I'm always focused on, I think if I'm not producing when I'm at home, it's a waste of my time, because you want more tracks out there, you want to do more stuff. Yeah. But you kind of, every now and then I'll text my mom, and sometimes I won't see her, even though she lives like 2 streets away from me. I won't see her for like 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm used to it, and they accept it from me as well. I mean, you have to have friends that understand what you do, and
absolutely.
You know, and thankfully I have a good group of friends and you know, some of my family members that understand what I do and accept it. Yeah.
What can your fans and clubbers expect from you, say, for the rest of this year, or maybe even a hint towards something coming up next year? Do you have anything special lined up? Something maybe you've been working on?
Yeah, I'm still working on an album. You know, I'm not there yet. I'm also psychologically not there yet, because as long as I have the feeling that it's not 100% me, then I will never push it out. For this year is just, you know, a lot of new singles. I just finished the vocal that's coming out next month, I think September. A new vocal track, and I did a few, you know, tech trances again. And that's basically it. It's just a lot of singles. I'm working on some remixes, but they don't have my priority, to be honest. I just want to focus on our own singles, and that's it. And the album, you know, once it's done, yeah. I can't say. I said that I would release it this year, but I don't think I'm going to manage to do it. And you know, besides that, it's just gigging and productions.
Well, it makes sense that, you know, you don't want to release it until it's 100%. You're comfortable with it,
yeah.
And you know, that makes sense in every way, shape, or form. With all the events that you have lined up for the rest of this year, for 2012, what's one of the events that you are most looking forward to, for whatever reason it may be?
I think I'm really looking forward to return to the Czech Republic. There's a club called Zazazu. Okay. I played there a year and a half ago with Alin Vila, and it's I really love Prague. It's an amazing city, and the vibe there is really cool. I did a festival there last year, so now again a club gig with with Ferry Corsten.
Oh wow!
So that's one I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, you know, I'll return to India. I'm a big fan of India and the club scene there. And Buenos Aires is next week, so which is my favorite country in the world, Argentina. So I'm really looking forward to go back to Buenos Aires.
When was the last time you were in South America for a gig?
Last month I was in Brazil.
Oh wow! Okay.
In Recife, yeah. I love South America, and particularly, you know, Buenos Aires. It's so unbelievable when you know, like yesterday. You have 2,500 people there, and you have a huge lineup, and I get, you know, the same there when I'm there alone or play with Heatbeat. It shows, you know, how much these people are into the music. Yeah.
And you're probably getting a lot more set time. You know, you're able to build that progression, that
3-4
explain
hours.
that story to the club goers that are coming, right?
3-4 hour sets.
That's intense.
And that's what I love to do. I mean, last time I was there was last year in November, and I think I played 4.5 hours. Wow. And even then I could still play if I wanted to, but there was a closing DJ as well. I know Heatbeat play after me, so at one point you have to, you know, I mean, they were like, no, do your thing, and I'm like, no, dude, you booked as well, you need to play as well, yeah.
So when you're off the clock, you know, when you're not thinking about the music and producing and at a gig, you know, is there something that you sort of you know, are following on a regular basis, whether it be sports or something else that maybe is of very good interest to you?
I used to, you know, I've always played bowling, 10-pin bowling. That was I started that when I was 8, but I don't have time for it anymore. You know, I would like to do stuff like that, but yeah, I just, like I said, I think it's a waste of time if I focus on anything else, especially because I had 2 rough years when it comes to producing music, and you know, I'm finally back on track, and so you know, now that I feel positive and good again, I can actually, you know, I actually want to focus so much on it while I'm feeling, you know, good, because it can change. I know myself; it could change at any given time. You know, I was just in negative, you know, flow, and now it's good. So I don't want to focus on anything else than music. I still take a bit of downtime, like I said, a couple hours a day. But yeah. And you know, sometimes when I have like a free weekend, I'll go out with friends to a bar and have a few drinks, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs now are looking to blend their genre with maybe, or experiment with other genres. For instance, you know, the changing up the tempo, maybe the beat, the backbeat, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, have you thought about maybe of exploring that? Because I mean,
I've done it, and I think it's a cool thing to mix sounds or like show people that you're diverse when it comes to either BPMs or maybe styles. But I don't think it's a good thing if you make a switch, like a style change, because personally that's what I think. I mean, I'm a trance DJ, and trance is it's a big word. It's a big genre. There's many styles within trance alone. I mean, and if I would like change styles to house or techno, then you're basically starting all over again. And trance is what I love, and even my type of trance. I mean, some people would say I don't produce trance, but I think it's trance, and how I see trance in my my head when I'm behind the computer and the synthesizer and whatever. But people should do whatever they want to do. I just think it's you never should forget where you come from, and I've seen some people do that, and they lose like everything they build up, and they disappoint people because it's like I mean, for instance, take like any rapper or whatever, like a problem. Let's say Dr. Dre, and all of a sudden he starts making house music. It's basically the same when you flip, or Keith Sweat, who's known for his really good R&B, and he starts making gangster rap. You can't do that. I mean, it's you can do it if you want to. I mean, you should do what you want, but it just doesn't make sense.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the trance right now, I mean, is bringing a different generation into the music. There's the older school that I've been following for maybe about 10 years or so, and they've seen the progression of trance. When you made that decision, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Who were the people that you looked up to in the industry at the time?
Dickweed, Sasha, Carl Cox, Paul van Dyk.
All legends.
Yeah, Ferry.
Okay.
I've always looked up to Ferry, Tiesto, Armin, all these guys. I mean, Carl Cox was probably one of the first that I started to follow. And I came from hardcore. I went into a bit of house. Back then we used to call it mellow, and then went into progressive. That's why Dickweed, Sasha, all these guys. Mm. And then from there, I this was around the time when Sasha did Expander. I heard the melodic side of things, and I always loved melodies. Also, when I was playing hardcore, there was always a riff in music, or melodies in the music, and then guys like Thijs and Armin and Ferry, started to do stuff, and I was just blown away by the feeling the music gave me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've also gone through a small progression in our city. We've had 3 festivals this year, outdoor. That we'd never had that before. I think there's a shift going on in our market as well.
Okay.
A lot of people are now getting attracted to it because the music is available not only online and YouTube and stuff, but now artists are able to produce maybe radio shows or podcasts, that kind of thing, and reach out to people.
Yeah.
And Facebook now is exploding, right?
Yeah.
I see that you have a intimate connection with all your fans on Facebook and Twitter. You've got a large following on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you think that helps getting your new material out, or maybe getting your messages out about events, that type of thing?
Well, I don't necessarily tweet a lot about releases, because I don't like to use. I think, because everything I do is business related, I basically use Twitter as something private. Okay. So I send out a lot of, it's a lot of bullshit as well, funny tweets or whatever, but that's my way of trying to have something that's non-business related. And obviously, of course, when there's a new track out, or when a new episode of Realism is online, I'll let people know. I prefer not to tweet about releases myself or update Facebook myself. I mean, my management has the login details. They do it as well.
Oh, okay.
I just don't feel right if I would sell my own music to people that follow me, and people like today is where you get good feedback off of yesterday's gig, and I can't thank everybody because you'll ruin the timeline, but I do try to let them know that I really appreciate what if they compliment or for whatever. If I have a bad set and they tell me, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
But I enjoy interacting with people because there's so many people out there. You can never know them all, but through Facebook or Twitter, you can get to know a bit more about them as well.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what's your next event that you're going to be flying out to?
I'm flying to Bali this week.
Okay.
I think.
Have you been to Bali before?
Yeah, I've played Bali before.
Okay.
Yeah. And from Bali, it's Buenos Aires, so it's basically from one end of the world back to the other end. And
wow.
Yeah.
And are you going to be doing any radio podcast updates or anything within that period of time?
I think a new radio show is next week, so I'll probably have to make it when I get back home.
Okay. Sounds like you have a very busy schedule already.
I always forget the radio show, man. It's always like last minute because it's not something I enjoy doing it, but yeah, it's just, I started doing the radio show because I wasn't doing too many gigs back then, so this was a way for me to still be able to DJ and let the people know, you know, yeah, these are my sets, this is what I like.
Yeah.
But now it became a part of, you know, the entire deal, and I'm not a radio show host, you know, and I have to do it because I've always done it, but yeah, I forget about it often.
Do you get a lot of emails right now from, you know, the up and coming artists that want to maybe, you know, share their new music, their new sound with you?
Yeah.
Are you getting a lot of demos, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Are you hearing something that maybe catchy for the future without going into too much detail? Do you hear something coming out right now that's from the newer generation that may be catchy for the mass that you can network to?
Well, there's a lot of like these new school guys that you know, like this guy from Argentina, Chris Weitz, I'm a big fan of his stuff. He always has like these banging remixes and originals.
Him and Thomas Heredia.
Yeah, him as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, these are really happening names in my world, and you know, there's guys like Austin Meyer. They did a couple of remixes that are really digged, and they've been producing for a while as well. But you know, you could see that all of a sudden, some of these guys that I would normally never have played out or, you know, paid attention to the music, to be honest, they just find the right thing all of a sudden, and you know, then the masses will pick it up, and I think that's what's happening now with this whole new shift of, you know, some people call it Trance 2.0. In my world, it's just, you know, it's not 2.0. It's just an evolved sound that's really happening right now, and a lot of these guys like Chris, who else do we have? I mean, you get so many like tracks. There's so many guys. I like a lot of the stuff that's coming out on Anjuna Beats as well. The last, you know, year. I don't know. It's like this really groovy, deeper, melodic sound that I really enjoy.
Well, we're really excited to hear potentially some of those new tracks, you know, on one of your future shows.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to be dropping that in some of the clubs all
sure.
over the world.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to take this opportunity for you to thank you very much for meeting with Trance Nation today. I wish you a safe journey, because I know you're off to Bali and then after that to South America.
Yeah.
And we thank you again for meeting with us.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Cool. Good?
Good.
I think that went well. What do you think?
Yeah, it went well.
Cool?
Nice flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No interruptions.